Good morning, everyone. Happy new month or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's 5:30 a.m. Central Time here, and I made a commitment that every day in the month of March, I am going to be live for at least 15 to 30 minutes. And the purpose is just to get to know people more. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. And just to answer any question you may have about starting a nonprofit or an NGO, building your nonprofit, or even like funding your nonprofit and expanding your impact. And so today is the first day. And so today I'm going to do a combination of two things. I am going to introduce myself and tell you about my why for starting the funding magnet. And then also I have gotten some questions from some of our followers, and I am going to also answer those questions as well. So if you are here, say hello, tell me where you're joining me from, and let us know if you have a nonprofit or if you're hoping to start a nonprofit soon, and tell us your location as well. So again, thank you for joining. And if you're catching the replay later, also you're going to have the opportunity to watch it as well. So leave your comment even if you're catching the replay later. So I welcome from Texas. That is early in the morning. Thank you for joining. Wonderful. So like I said, my name is Omotola the Great, and I am the lead consultant here at the Funding Magnet. And at the Funding Magnet, our goal is to prepare, propel, position, empower individuals and organizations to their highest potential. And so if you are someone who's thinking of starting a nonprofit, or you just care about a particular community or population and you want to serve them, we can help you to get that started. You don't necessarily have to have a nonprofit to do good. So you can still have a business that is for social impact, and we can definitely help you and support you in helping you to create the side of your business that is focused on social impact as well. And then also for people who already have a calling, who've started their nonprofit, I know sometimes it can be a lonely journey, and I like to call you champions, because you can have chosen to do anything else with your life, but you chose to be in the nonprofit world. You chose to answer the call. You chose to say, you know what, I'm going to say yes to this opportunity to serve my community, to serve the people that I believe they need the assistance that you are rendering as your organization. And so if you're already there, then I applaud you for taking up the baton and being able to do that as well. And so today I have two things. I'm going to share a bit about my own story, how I came to be in the social impact nonprofit world, and then also I'm going to tell you my mission for 2022, and then answer one of the questions I've received. And if you have questions, like I said, please leave it in the chat. I'll be happy to also take your questions if you're live right now. So who am I, right? Beyond just being Omotola the Great. So I grew up originally in Nigeria, and that's where I spent the first 18 years of my life. And growing up in Nigeria, I was able to see the difference between those that have and those that don't have. And so most of the time I ended up being on the side of not having more than having. And so the first 15 years of my life, I lived in a particular area of town that was considered the ghetto. And so living there, I still have the opportunity and privilege to be able to go to a private elementary school or primary school there. And so, but the difference was that every time I went to school, when I looked down from the window of my class, I saw the public school there. And in the public school system, there were a lot of young people that were just walking around doing nothing, or they were being maltreated, and they didn't have teachers to teach them. And it used to make me so upset that how is it possible that I got the opportunity to have a good education, and there are many more thousands who didn't have the opportunity to have a great education. And so because of that, that sort of like ignited a fire in me for education for children and youth. And I wanted to do something about it. And so me being very young and not knowing a lot, I told my parents that, you know what, for my secondary school education, I want to definitely not go to a private school. I want to go to a public school. I want to see what it looks like to go to a public school. And so my parents was like, okay, no problem, but if things get bad, we're going to take you out of it. And so that was how, after I finished primary school, I went to a secondary school that was public, and to even make matters even worse, I decided that I wanted to go to a boarding house. So I wasn't living at home, I was living in the boarding house. I was living at school and only got to go home during the holiday. And during that period, I really knew what it was like. Everything I was seeing from my window, from my private primary school, was exactly what I was experiencing when I was in the secondary school. Most of the time, we're supposed to have at least 10 teachers to teach us throughout the semester, but at the end of the day, we might only have 5 teachers that show up, or 4, and even the quality of what they were teaching us was next to nothing. Sometimes I will be forced to use my pocket money to pay some of my friends that went to private secondary school to borrow their notes, because at the end of the 3 years in our junior secondary school, we had to sit for a national exam. And in Nigeria, they don't care whether or not you cover the curriculum. They don't care whether you're in private school or public school, or whether the public school covered all of their syllabus or not. They are going to set the same examination for you. And they don't put into account that sometimes these people in public schools, which is more than 90% of the population of students that attend school for education, were in the public school system, and then there were not enough teachers, or the quality of education was not that great. And so they don't care about that. And so you still have to sit for the same national examination, but at the end of the day, whether or not you pass, they don't really care about that. And so it used to really bother me, and I felt like that was an injustice, and I wanted to do something about it. To cut the long story short, my parents took me out of the public school because it was not helping me on my destiny. And so I finally was able to leave Nigeria at the age of 18, came to the United States to study for my university education. So I got into social work, psychology, leadership studies. That was what I studied for my bachelor's education. And throughout that process, working with people, I've worked with homeless population, I've worked with children, I've worked with adults, I've worked with families. And throughout all of these, like, that really ignited my vision and my passion for the nonprofit world, and I wanted to do something about ensuring that I help people. So fast forward to after my college educations, I went for my master's degree, and during my master's degree, I decided that, you know what, I don't just want to work with individuals alone and organize. I want to actually start building an organization, because throughout my 4 years in college, I got to work with a lot of nonprofits as a volunteer, as an intern, and all of that. And one of the things I kept seeing was that as much as they had good programs, they had good art, they had good passion, missions, and vision, but sometimes funding was always the problem, because without funding, the capacity for the impact they want to do is very limited. And so I started seeing this issue that if the foundation for funding is limited and it's not strong enough, then there will be challenges in being able to deliver the service and the program and the mission that we're supposed to do at the end of the day. And so that was how I said, you know what, I want to focus on building nonprofits to be successful. I want to focus on building nonprofits that are sustainable, that are profitable. And so I decided to shift from individuals and like just clinical work, and I studied nonprofit development and management with a specialization in social enterprise. And so that was what battered my journey into the nonprofit world, and working more on the macro than the micro part of things as well. And so during the course of my master's degree, I also started my own nonprofit organization. So that was in 2012. And during that period, I was able to build it, and I was able to grow it, and I was able to expand it. At one point, we were in 3 different countries across Africa when we started these as well. And so I know what it feels like to have a passion. I know what it feels like to have a purpose. I know what it feels like to be pained about a particular problem in the society, and you want to not just do nothing, you want to join and do something about it. And so that was what fueled my own mission into going into the nonprofit world. So the nonprofit I started was Jumpstart Dream Academy, and the purpose was to ensure that we break the barriers that limit students from succeeding, and we ignite their possibility to be able to do whatever they want to do in this world. And we believe that irrespective of your background should not equal your future. So just because your parents never went to school, just because that should not stop you from being whatever you want to be. And more than 10 years later now, we have students who have graduated, we have students who are working, who have their degrees, and some that are still completing it as well in the process. And so that is my own journey, a bit about my journey into the nonprofit world. And that was how I got started. But over the time, it was not all glamorous and fun. Like I said, what I experienced while I was in college, as it started happening for me also in my own organization, where we ran out of funding. Actually, the first year, I actually self-funded my own organization. I self-funded it because at that point, no one was really willing to support me, and I needed to figure out how I was going to ensure that I can do the good that we were doing. We had at least 150 students that we were supposed to be taking care of in my nonprofit the first year that we started. And so one of the things that I did, because I knew that I wanted to serve this community, I wanted to go back to Nigeria after I finished my master's in the United States. And so one of the things I knew that I needed to do was to prepare and plan for the future of being able to run this nonprofit and have the funding to do that. Because, you know, sometimes then the culture of giving was not as appreciated as now. Now things have changed, and now more people give in that context. But then the culture of giving was very limited. And so one of the strategy I came up with was like, you know what, I am going to save up money and I'm going to use it to start my nonprofit. Like I said, then I was young and very, very passionate. And so one of the things I did was to actually work in the cafeteria. So think of it like a canteen. And so I worked in the canteen for more than 6 months. And one of the things that I did was like I served food to the students. I was a dishwasher. I cleaned the tables. I swept and things like that. And eventually, between those months, I was able to save up $5,000. And so that was my seed funding to start my nonprofit in that moment and at that time. And so I took the $5,000 and I was so excited about it, and I went back to Nigeria. And so we had a team of people that was working with us, and it was important for me that we pay them, even if it was not a lot, we pay them something, and then to run our programs as well. And so wherever you are in your own journey, wherever it is right now, whether you're just thinking of starting, you've started, but you're maybe struggling in terms of funding, in terms of structure, I know what that feels like. I've been there. I've gone through all the circle, like they call it the famine circle, and then you have the feast circle. The famine circle is when you hardly have enough to live on. You hardly have enough to even pay your staff to run your program, to do the good you said you wanted to do. And then the feast circle is when you have more than enough. You have at least just enough to be able to power through for that month, for that season as well. And so during my feast circle, everything was great and wonderful. But during the farming circle, then there was a lot of work. And during that period, I had to borrow from everybody. Like I borrowed from my mom, I borrowed from my brother, I borrowed from my sisters, I borrowed from my dad. I think some of them have not even fully paid them back yet, for that matter. But that was just a bit about my journey. And during that period, people questioned me to say, why are you doing this work? Like, you left the United States, you left a good job opportunity just to come back to Nigeria to suffer. How can you give up on all of these things, and now you're asking me to borrow you money, not just to help yourself, but to actually help other people? This does not make sense. But I kept going and I kept doing it because I knew that it was important. Like, as all of you know, more than ever in this world, think of what is going on all around the world. Think of, we're just coming off the pandemic. It's still here, but at least not as worse as it was like a year or two before, right? And now there's trouble and turbulence all around the world. Case example in Ukraine and other parts of the world as well. And so more than ever, we need champions. We need people who are going to stand in gap, because the truth of the matter is, not the hands are not equal. If you look at your fingers, they are not equal, right? They have different sizes and different heights. And that is how the world is also as well. In this world, there are so many people who don't have what they need to thrive. And so for you to feel called into whatever you're doing, for you to feel called into the population you're serving, for you to feel called into the community that you want to work with, it matters. So I don't want you to ignore that. Don't ignore it. Don't allow what people say, what people think, to say that, oh, you're just wasting your time. What's the point? It's a thankless job. But the truth of the matter is, you might be saving a life. You might be transforming a community. You might be the difference. You might be the difference between life and death for somebody, for a family. And so I want to encourage you that what you do matter. Yes, the society might not place high regard on you, but you're a lifesaver. You're a transformer. You're a superhero. And more than ever, we need you to put on your cape and we need you to do this work, because a lot of community need you. A lot of families need you. A lot of young people need you. A lot of people that are homeless, a lot of people living with disability need you. So whatever your area of specialty is, whatever your population is, it is important. You matter more than ever. And so my goal in starting the funding magnet is to be your guide, to support you along the way, to help you, to show you how to build your nonprofit, your social enterprise on a really firm foundation, for you not to go through what I had to go through. Like I said, part of the beginning of my own period, I had to self-fund myself. I worked in the cafeteria, I served food, I was a dishwasher, and people used to laugh at me. But for me, I knew my vision, I knew the mission that I was on, I knew the purpose, I knew my calling. And so that was my driving force. So irrespective of what my other friends thought, what my other classmates thought, it did not matter, because I knew what I was called to do and what I was trying to accomplish as well. So for you, wherever you are, whether you are in the feast or in the famine circle, wherever you are, just know that there is hope and that your mission is still fundable. Your mission is fundable. If you don't get anything from today, from whatever I'm saying, know that your mission is fundable and that you have all it takes to succeed. We might need to tweak some things, we might need to start doing some things or doing less of some things, but your mission is fundable. And there are people out there who would love to partner with you, who would love to support you, who would love to come on with you to support your work and ensure that you can live out your mission. But sometimes, we get discouraged by the how. We get discouraged by the number that we're not seeing. And so throughout these 31 days, I'm hoping that I can be this sounding board for you, to encourage you, to support you, to help you to know that it is possible for you to fund your organization, to fully fund it. You don't have to go broke to make a difference. You don't have to believe that you can never make a difference because of the work that you do. You are powerful. You have something to offer the world and your community, and that yes, you can fully fund your mission while fund yourself. Because one of the questions that I had was how can I pay myself as a non-profit executive? It seems as if everybody just wants to fund the population or the community, but they don't think about the people that actually run the organization. And I know for some of you, this is your life mission. If you were given a choice between either doing another job or fully running your non-profit, you would choose fully running your non-profit. But the question most people have is how do we fund it? How do we fund it? So I will tell you the truth. The first few months I was not being paid, and that was okay, because I too, like I said, I was so passionate. So every kobo, every amount of money, every dollar, every cent that we got went into the work. But I knew that, and I realized that for me to be effective, for my team to really excel and give the best to the population I said we wanted to serve, I had to treat them right as well. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about during these 31 days is how do you fund your nonprofit? How do you pay for your staff? How do you pay yourself? And don't ever feel yucky about paying yourself. You deserve to be paid. You're doing incredible work. You are helping people. You're saving lives. You're changing communities. You're transforming community for good. So you deserve to be paid for your time. I know a lot of you are in this world because you want to do good. You want to make a difference. And that is wonderful. That is great. But you must not forget about yourself in the process. Because think about it. If you don't feel in yourself, if you don't take time for yourself, then what are you supposed to pour out? You cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you keep giving, and you don't take the time to fill yourself back on, what happened? It's empty, and then you have nothing to give to other people, right? And so I don't want that to happen, because one of the things I see in this world, in this sector, is that a lot of people burn out. There's so much burnout. You give up. There's this your compassionate fatigue, it comes upon you, and then you're what's the point? I don't think anybody cares. I don't think I'm making a difference. Nobody will really know what if we close up. Nobody will know if we stop delivering a service. But the truth is, somebody will feel it. Somebody will know for sure when you stop filling your service and all. And so for me, this year, my mission in 2022 is to aid and support at least 1,000 nonprofits to fully fund their mission. And I'm going to do that in different ways. Sometimes it might be working with me one-on-one. Sometimes it might just be through my free content that you're hearing, that you're listening to, that you're reading. You pick what you need as well. Sometimes it might be through my classes or my courses or trainings and workshops that I give to you as well. Sometimes it might be through a one-on-one service that we do if you're a private client. But irrespective of that, I am fully committed to ensuring that as a champion, you are able to do the good that you were set out to do. And so throughout these 31 days, you're going to learn more about how that works and what that looks like as well. And so to answer the first question that was sent in for today, so one of the question I was asked was, and this was from several people, is okay, how do I fund my nonprofit? If I'm just getting started, what does that look like? And so I'm going to share one tip in which you can get like as a startup cost to funding your nonprofit. I don't want you to do it the way I did it, where I had to self-fund. Yes, you might need to use some self-funding, but you should not always rely on just you to fund your nonprofit. The truth is, there are so many people that want to support you, but a lot of us, we don't take the time to ask, we don't take the time to seek, we don't take the time to knock on doors. We just assume and think that nobody will support me. We just assume and we think that, well, I don't think they care. So if you don't ask, then you're not going to receive. If you don't seek, then you're not going to find. If you don't knock, then the door is not going to be open to you. And so that's the first thing, is like when you're starting your nonprofit, my first tip for you is to gather your friends and family. Those are going to be the best bet in getting started in funding your nonprofit. Like, share the vision, have a meeting, whether in person. Thank God for the internet and Zoom and the likes of them. You can also bring about them virtually as well. So one of the exercises I would like you to do, and I think you should do it even if you started your nonprofit, even if you're not just starting, is like, think about it. You've gone to universities or like college, right? You've gathered a lot of emails and phone number. Think a lot of you have telegrams, you have BBM during the BlackBerry period. Now you have WhatsApp, right? You have so many of these social media. Look across it. How many people are on your list? If you have their phone number, that means one way or the other, you've connected to them, right? One way or the other, you know these people. So the first thing in like thinking of starting up your nonprofit and getting these people, you need people. You cannot do without people. So people are the first thing in this place. Don't think about yourself. Yes, it's great that you have some money to get it started, but the truth is the money you have is going to run out. So what happens to your program? What happened to the community you want to serve? What happened to the population you said you were like, that you swore that you wanted to serve, that you're here for them, if your own personal money runs out? Because life happened, right? So I don't want you to just rely on your own money as the funder, as the visionary. No, I want you to start rallying the support around you. Like I said, if you don't ask, people just assume that, oh, I don't have to give, or he has it all, she has it all. But you need to ask. You need to open your mouth and ask. And the best people you can ask is the people within your close circle. These are your family and friends, because guess what? They know you. They know your heart. They know your character. They know the backstory to why you might care about the population or the community that you're trying to serve, that you want to help, right? And so more than ever, it's very important that you start with them. A lot of us, we ignore them. And these are the goats in our background. These are the goats in our background. We ignore the people that we know because we think, oh, familiarity, they will not get it. No, they actually know you more. The chance of them giving to you is higher than a stranger. So a lot of us, we overlook them. Then we come on social media and we're trying to talk to strangers to see our value and our worth and the work that we're trying to do. I'm not saying there's no place for that, but that is down the line. You have to start with the people you know. You have to start with the people that are within your initial communication that you can reach, whether you can access them via email, face-to-face conversation, or in person. So I'll tell you a story about one of the people that I got to have to support my nonprofit, and just to really ensure, like I said, the first year I had $5,000, right, that I did when I was working in the cafeteria, and I was I was being a dishwasher, but I knew the money was running out fast. I was like, what am I going to do? There are more people and families that want our work. Like the first year that we started our program, over 1,000 students applied, and we could only take 150 people. So imagine that, more than needed our services, and we could only take 150 of these people. And then there was a long wait list for like when next we open our program. But I knew that the 5,000 was running out really, really fast, and I needed a strategy. So the same tip I'm giving you now was what I did. So it's like, you know what? I've actually not asked anybody. I've not spoken to them about actually contributing to give. Yes, I share about it and like, this is great, this is wonderful. But there is no next step, there's no call to action after that, right? And so I said, you know what, I'm going to look within my environment. Who do I know that care about education? Because that was our focus, right? Who do I know that care about children? Who do I know that care about youth? So you start with that to say, okay, these people, do they care about education? Do they care about whatever your mission or your vision is? Do they care about the population? Do they care about the community? So that's how you get started. So for an action step today, I want you to think of 10 people at least that you have access to, that either you can reach them by phone, by face-to-face conversation, by text message, by WhatsApping or Telegram or something, or maybe even a chat on Facebook, depending on if they are not within the country or continent that you're in, and identify those people and think about what they value. Have they ever said anything that is in alignment with your mission? Do they care about the population that you're serving? Do they care about the community you're serving? So if you see anything in their life, in their post, in your communications with them that shows that they might care about something, then they're a good prospect for you that can fund your mission, that can come on board with you to partner and support the work that you're doing. And so I want you to have at least 10 today that you're going to reach out to say, you know what, I know that I started this nonprofit, or I work for this nonprofit, or I'm one of the visionaries behind this nonprofit or NGO. I know that I've not asked before, but I want you to support our mission. In 2022, we have a mission to ... Maybe your mission is to help 500 young people, or to help 500 families, or to help 500 children. Whatever your mission is, start with your mission and your vision. Tell them what you want to do. Tell them the population you're serving and why you're serving them, and ask them to partner with you to do this good. Ask them to partner with you to ensure that the life of these people can be changed and transformed. Ask them to partner with you to be the hero in the story of these people and this population and this community that you're serving. And so that is the first step that you need to do to be able to fund your nonprofit, whether you're just starting up, or maybe you've started and now you're at this stage where you're in the farming stage, no money is coming in, and you're like, how are we going to fund next month? This is a new month, right? What are we going to do to ensure that we can solve this issue and help the people that we've committed to help? And so the first step is to open your mouth. Look within you. Call your family and friend. You can even have a virtual meeting. Invite everybody that you know. Look to your email list. Look to your phone. Look to your friends and say, I want to tell you this, why we started. Because sometimes a lot of people, they don't know why. They just know that, oh, this is somebody that works in this nonprofit that does this. No, but they don't understand your why. So what is your story? Why did you start? You could have chosen to do any other thing in the world, but you chose to start this nonprofit. You chose to start this social enterprise. You chose to start this NGO. So I want you to call a meeting. Invite everybody, whether in person or virtual, to come and share your story. And then come, not just your own story of funding your organization, but share the story of how a life has been changed, how a life has been transformed, what you guys are doing to save life, to change life, to transform a community. Then tell them how they can support you. Tell them how they can support you so that they can help you, because you need these people more than ever. And so if you're thinking of starting, if you've started it, that will be my first thing. It's for those that ask the question, how do I fund my nonprofit when I'm just starting? And if there's anyone here that has a question, please feel free to also put in the comments as well. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm just looking down to see all the people that have joined. Welcome. There's someone from Texas, someone from Ghana. Like, happy to have you here as well. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any question, like I said, please leave it in the chat as well. Tomorrow I'll be back at the same time, 12:30 West African time. And if you have a question that you're shy to ask in public, feel free to also send me a DM as well. I'll be happy to take it as well. But I hope this was valuable to you. Till next time, keep doing good, and thank you for all that you do. Bye everyone. Now to end it.